They gave the ugliest and most jealous alien woman to a human man, but he didn't hesitate because Adam never expected his life to change so quickly. One moment he was fixing a broken reactor on the outer station, and the next he was being summoned to a hall he had never seen before. The hall was massive, stretching high into the ceiling, with lights that glowed softly like a calm sky at dawn. It smelled of metal and something else, something strange that made Adam's stomach twist with nervousness. The humans on the station had been warned that today was important. Today, the Alien Council would decide certain pairings between humans and their species. Adam didn't know why they chose him. He was an ordinary engineer, careful and quiet, and had never thought much about politics or the alien world. Yet now he was standing at the threshold of the hall, wondering if this day would ruin him or change him. He stepped forward. His boots made small echoes on the polished floor. At the far end of the hall, the council waited. They were taller than humans, with sharp faces, skin that shined like smooth stone, and eyes that glowed faintly with color. Adam felt a shiver. Some of them smiled in a way that did not reach their eyes, while others looked curious, almost hungry for reactions. Then he saw her, Kira. She stood behind the council, her posture rigid. Her face was not like the other aliens. Her skin was blotchy, her features sharp in ways that were almost frightening, and her eyes burned with a green fire that could make someone stop in their tracks. She was known across the station as the jealous and bitter one. The council had told Adam that she had been rejected by every member of her species. Her reputation alone made people avoid her. Adam looked at her for a long moment. He felt no fear, only a strange sense of calm. He had seen humans judged unfairly many times. He knew what it felt like to be unwanted, to be looked down upon. Kira did not need a human who hesitated. She needed one who could see her without judgment. The council spoke first. Their voices were like echoes in a cave, deep and slow. Adam, you have been chosen to be paired with Kira. A murmur ran through the hall. Some aliens tilted their heads, frowning. Others whispered to each other, their words harsh and judgmental. Adam noticed their surprise, but he did not. He nodded. I accept, he said simply. The words shocked everyone. Kira's eyes widened, her jaw dropping slightly. No human had ever agreed so quickly. Most would have refused, some with anger, some with fear. But Adam just looked at her steadily. Why? Kira's voice was low but sharp, full of challenge. Don't you see what I am? Don't you see why no one wants me? Adam stepped closer, careful to stay calm. I see that you are judged unfairly. I know what it is to be treated as unwanted. I will not run away. The room went silent. The council looked at him with a mix of suspicion and curiosity. Kira's glare did not soften, but there was something in his words that made her blink and look away briefly. She had not expected a human to speak to her like that. One of the council members, a tall figure named Loran, spoke next. You are brave, human. Most would not take this pairing, but bravery is not enough. Kira is difficult. She is jealous and prone to anger. She may challenge you in ways no human can imagine. Adam nodded again. I understand. I will try my best. Loran's glowing eyes studied him, then slowly he gave a slight nod. Then the pairing is complete. Human and Kira, you will live and work together on this station. You will learn from each other and perhaps you may even grow to understand one another. Kira's arms crossed over her chest. She studied Adam like he was a puzzle she did not want to solve. We will see, she said coldly. Adam smiled lightly. It was not a smile meant to charm or flatter. It was just calm, simple human warmth. We will, he replied. The council dismissed them, and Adam and Kira were left alone in a side chamber. The walls were curved, smooth, and the light was softer here. The air hummed with machinery, and it smelled faintly of oil and metal. Adam could feel his heart beat faster. He was about to spend every day in the presence of someone everyone else called ugly and impossible. Kira turned to him, her eyes narrowing. You have no idea what you are getting into, human, she said. "I think I do," Adam replied. "And I am ready," she scoffed. "Ready? You have no idea. I can be difficult. I am not like other aliens. I do not trust easily. I have hurt people before." "I know," Adam said softly. "And I will not judge you for it. We all have our pasts. We all have our fears. I do not need you to be perfect." Kira's green eyes flickered with something that might have been surprise. She studied him carefully, as if trying to decide if he was lying or foolish. Perhaps he was both, perhaps he was neither. Adam offered his hand. "Shall we start?" he asked simply. Kira hesitated, then finally, with a small, almost imperceptible nod, she took his hand. The gesture was small, but it was the first connection between them, a silent agreement that they would try, even if neither fully believed it yet. The next days were strange. Adam and Kira were paired in a small living quarter, which was more like a lab than a home. Machines hummed in every corner. There were screens with blinking lights, strange tools that Adam had never used, and a constant low vibration that reminded him of being inside a ship. Kira moved around the room with grace, but there was an edge to her movements, a constant tension. She watched Adam as he tried to adjust to the room. Sometimes her eyes followed him with suspicion, sometimes with something he could not name. "Do you always make such a mess?" she asked once, noticing him setting up a small personal station for himself. Adam looked at the scattered tools. "I am careful," he said, "just not always neat." Kira's lips twitched. It might have been a smile or a snarl. Adam did not care. He kept working calmly, placing things where he could reach them easily, checking and double-checking every connection. Over time, Kira observed him quietly. She did not speak much at first. Her silence was not friendly, it was wary. She waited for him to show weakness, to falter, to fail. But Adam did not. He was patient, methodical, and polite. He spoke when necessary, but he did not try to impress her. The other humans on the station, like Laura and Ben, noticed the pairing. They were curious, even skeptical. "Why him?" they asked. "Why would Adam agree to this?" Adam shrugged one day. "Because someone has to see the good in people. Someone has to try." Kira overheard it and felt something shift inside her. No human had ever said anything like that to her. Usually they ran away, laughed, or whispered behind her back. "Adam?" Adam looked at her, not with disgust, not with fear, but with understanding. That night, Kira stayed awake longer than usual, thinking. She had always been jealous because others treated her badly, because she was mocked and avoided. But here was a human who did not run, a human who did not care about her looks, her reputation, or her temper. For the first time in her life, Kira wondered if maybe, just maybe, she could trust someone. Adam, meanwhile, worked quietly at his station, unaware of her thoughts. He did not try to force friendship or conversation. He simply existed, steady and reliable. And in the simplicity of his actions, Kira began to feel something strange. Curiosity, perhaps even respect. The station hummed outside, the lights shifting as ships moved in orbit. Life went on, indifferent to their pairing, yet in the quiet corner of the lab, a human and a feared alien woman began a connection that no one expected. It was not love, not yet, but it was a beginning. Adam glanced at Kira one evening. She was leaning against the wall, watching a screen, her sharp green eyes alert. "How are you holding up?" he asked simply. She shrugged, not meeting his gaze. "Better than I expected," she muttered. Adam nodded. "Good, that is all I need to know for now." Kira's lips twitched again. Perhaps it was amusement. Perhaps it was disbelief. She did not answer, but she did not move away either. In the days that followed, small things happened that no one on the station noticed. A tool misplaced would be quietly returned. A machine that malfunctioned would be fixed without a word. They began to share small moments of trust, simple human and alien cooperation. Kira began to see that Adam was different. Not perfect, not unafraid, not untouchable, but kind, patient, steady. And perhaps, in some small way, willing to see her not as the ugly, jealous alien everyone else mocked. but as someone who had worth, someone who could be trusted. And that was enough for now to change the beginning of everything. The next morning, Adam woke to the soft hum of the station. The lights shifted slowly as the day began, painting the room in pale shades of silver and blue. Kira was already awake, sitting by the window that looked out into space. Her green eyes stared at the stars, sharp and calculating as if she could read their secrets. Adam stretched and moved quietly. He did not want to startle her. He had learned quickly that Kira did not like sudden movements or loud voices. He took a small tray from the corner, holding breakfast supplies he had managed to gather overnight. Human food was simple, but he had found a way to make it edible for alien tastes. Kira watched him silently, her arms crossed, her expression unreadable. "Good morning," Adam said softly. "I brought some food." Kira did not answer immediately. She tilted her head slightly, observing him. Adam smiled faintly, not needing her reply. He set the tray on the small table in the center of the room. Finally, she spoke. "Why do you bother?" Her voice was low, cautious, almost suspicious. "No one cares about me. No one has ever cared." Adam placed the tray down and sat across from her. "I care. That is all that matters right now," he said simply. She blinked. No one had ever said that to her, not a single human and certainly not an alien. Usually they laughed, mocked, or avoided her. But Adam, he looked at her like she was just another person, not a threat, not a joke, not a failure. "Do you really mean that?" she asked, her voice softer now but still wary. "I do," Adam said. "We are stuck together for now. It makes sense to start with trust." Kira's eyes narrowed again, but she did not speak. Instead, she picked at the tray, examining the strange human food with suspicion. She eventually tried a small bite, then another. Adam watched her carefully, waiting for a reaction. She paused, blinked, and swallowed. "It is okay," she muttered. Adam nodded. "Good, it is better than nothing." Kira huffed quietly. She did not smile, but the edge of her lips twitched ever so slightly. Adam did not notice. He had learned early on not to expect immediate approval or gratitude from her. Small victories were still victories. The day went on slowly. They moved through the station together, Adam quietly observing, Kira keeping her distance but always watching. She did not trust easily, and Adam did not push her. He understood that trust had to grow naturally, like water filling a dry cup. "Do you always work alone?" Kira asked suddenly, as they walked down a long corridor lined with blinking panels and pipes. Adam glanced at her. "Sometimes, but I prefer not to be completely alone. There is value in having someone nearby, even if you do not speak much." Kira's eyes flickered at that, but she did not respond. She simply continued walking, her steps light but precise, as if she were always ready to defend herself. Later, they reached a control room where alarms and indicators blinked rapidly. The station had problems constantly, and Adam spent hours here each day, monitoring systems and making small repairs. Kira watched him work, silent and still. "You are very careful," she said finally. Adam looked up. "I try to be. Mistakes can be dangerous here." She leaned against the wall, her arms crossed. "I have seen humans make mistakes. You are not special." "I am not special," Adam admitted. "But I try to be careful because it matters. Not just to me, but to everyone around me." Kira studied him. There was honesty in his words, and that honesty was something she had rarely seen. Aliens often hid their true feelings or manipulated others. Humans, she realized, were simpler in some ways, and that made their honesty sharper, clearer. As the hours passed, they worked side by side. Adam explained small things about the station, how certain systems operated, why particular maintenance was necessary. Kira listened, sometimes interrupting with sharp questions, sometimes just observing. She did not always agree with him, and she was quick to point out flaws, but she began to respect his knowledge and his calm approach. During a brief break, Adam and Kira sat near the observation window. The stars stretched endlessly before them, silent witnesses to their strange partnership. "You do not fear me," Kira said quietly. Adam shook his head. "I do not have a reason to. I see who you are, not what others say about you." Her eyes softened for a moment, a flicker of something she did not understand herself. "Why?" she asked. "Why are you not afraid, not disgusted?" Adam smiled faintly. "Because I have seen people judged unfairly. I have been judged unfairly myself. I know it is wrong. I refuse to do the same to you." Kira did not reply immediately. She looked down at her hands, folded tightly in her lap. For a long moment, the only sound was the quiet hum of the station and the distant noise of machinery. Finally she spoke. "I do not know if I can trust you completely." "You do not have to," Adam said softly. "Not yet. Trust grows slowly. We have time." Kira looked at him, her sharp green eyes studying his face. She wanted to doubt him, to find a reason to push him away, but she could not find one. His presence was steady, calm, and patient. It was not overwhelming, not demanding, just reliable. And she realized slowly that she had never met anyone like that. Days turned into weeks. Adam and Kira continued their work together. They fixed broken panels, monitored the station's life support, and dealt with minor emergencies. Every challenge they faced required cooperation. At first, Kira was harsh and critical, quick to anger if something went wrong. But Adam never responded with anger. He remained patient, explaining calmly what to do, sometimes working alongside her silently. Other humans on the station began to notice the change. Laura, who worked in communications, whispered to Ben one day, "Have you seen Kira today? She is different around Adam." Ben nodded slowly. "I know. I don't think anyone else could get through to her like that. Adam is something else." Kira overheard parts of their conversation and frowned. She did not like the attention or the judgment. But deep inside, she could not deny the truth. She was changing slowly in ways that she did not want to admit. One afternoon, a small emergency occurred in the station. A minor fire broke out in one of the maintenance tunnels. Adam and Kira were nearby. Without hesitation, Adam rushed toward the fire to shut down the faulty system. Kira followed, faster than Adam expected. Her instincts were sharp, her movements precise. Together, they contained the fire before it caused serious damage. Afterward, Kira stood, breathing hard, her sharp eyes glancing at Adam. "You could have been hurt," she said, her voice rough but not angry. "I could have been," Adam replied. "But we worked together. That is what matters." Kira looked at him, a flicker of respect in her eyes. She did not smile, but the tension in her shoulders eased slightly. She realized that Adam did not just accept her. He depended on her, trusted her, and worked with her as an equal. That night, they sat together in the small living quarter, exhausted from the day's events. Kira did not speak much. She stared at the stars, lost in thought. Adam watched her quietly, understanding that she needed space to process, to consider, to rethink what she believed about humans and herself. Finally, Kira spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "You are not like them." Adam smiled faintly. "No, I am not, and you are not like them either. You are stronger than you think." Her eyes flickered at his words. Strength was not something she had been praised for before. She had been judged for her looks, her jealousy, her anger. But strength, that was something different, and Adam saw it. In the quiet of the room, with the hum of the station surrounding them, a fragile bond began to form. It was not friendship, not trust fully earned, not love. But it was something that had never existed for Kira before: understanding. A human who did not judge her, who did not fear her, who simply accepted her. As the station drifted silently through space, Adam and Kira continued side by side. Each day brought small victories, quiet lessons, and tiny moments of connection. They had not yet conquered their differences, but they were beginning to see each other not as enemy, not as burden, but as companion. And for Kira, that was the most dangerous, most confusing feeling of all. Because for the first time in her life, she realized she might not be alone. Time on the station passed slowly. Yet something between Adam and Kira began to shift in ways neither of them fully understood. The quiet hum of the machinery, the soft lights, and the endless stars outside seemed to create a world where ordinary rules no longer applied. Kira, who had always been cautious and suspicious, found herself watching Adam closely, not with jealousy, not with anger, but with curiosity. Adam had a way of making the difficult look simple. Every day he worked carefully on the station systems, repairing what was broken, adjusting what was off, and always thinking ahead. Kira followed his movements, sometimes helping, sometimes just observing. She had never been treated this way before. Usually others avoided her, mocked her, or grew frustrated with her sharp words. But Adam was patient. He did not push. He did not criticize unfairly. He simply did his work and treated her as an equal. "You always think of everything," Kira said one day as they adjusted a power relay in a small maintenance room. Her voice was rough, cautious, but she could not hide the hint of admiration. Adam looked up and smiled faintly. "I try, but I also know I will make mistakes." "That is why we work together." Kira narrowed her eyes. "Do you really mean that, even if I make mistakes?" "Even then," Adam replied, "I will not give up on someone because they are imperfect." Kira did not answer immediately. She wiped a thin layer of sweat from her forehead and adjusted a small panel. The words stayed in her mind, rolling over each other like stones in a river. No one had ever said something like that to her. Not a human, not an alien. She was used to rejection, to suspicion, to being pushed aside. And yet, here was Adam, calmly accepting her, patiently working with her. For the first time, Kira wondered if perhaps she had been wrong about humans. She had assumed they would fear her, hate her, or mock her as others had. But Adam, he was different. And that difference made her both cautious and intrigued. Days passed and the station faced small crises. A supply conveyor broke one afternoon, forcing Adam and Kira to work together in a tight, noisy space. Sparks flew from the broken machinery, and Kira's sharp movements kept both of them safe. Adam, in turn, guided her with calm, steady instructions. "You are very precise," Adam said. "You handle this better than I expected." Kira's ears twitched at the words. "Better than you expected. Why is that important?" "Because people often underestimate others," Adam replied. "But I never do. I observe and work with what I see, not what others say." Kira considered this silently. She had always been underestimated. That was why she had become jealous, why she had become bitter. She wanted power, control, and respect, not for vanity, but because she had been denied recognition for her skills and intelligence. And Adam, he had acknowledged that without making it a contest or a challenge. Their cooperation became routine. They shared small victories, a malfunctioning oxygen vent repaired, a failing computer recalibrated, a leaking pipe sealed. Each success, no matter how minor, built a bridge between them. Kira began to respect Adam's knowledge, his calm approach, and his quiet determination. One evening, they were in the observation room, watching the station drift past a glowing nebula. Kira sat near the window, her green eyes reflecting the shifting colors outside. Adam joined her, quietly placing a cup of warm liquid in front of her. "You do this every night," Kira said softly. Adam shook his head. "I only noticed you like the view. I thought you might enjoy something warm while watching it." Kira frowned slightly. "You notice everything, don't you?" "I try to," Adam replied simply. "It makes life easier, and it helps me understand others." Kira said nothing for a while, staring out at the nebula. The stars seemed endless, infinite, and silent. She thought about her life before Adam, about the constant rejection, the anger, the jealousy. She had pushed everyone away and no one had cared. And now she had someone who simply accepted her. "You are very strange, human," she said finally. "You do not fear me. You do not judge me." "Why?" Adam looked at her with quiet honesty. "Because I have seen people judged unfairly. I have been judged unfairly, and I know it is wrong. I refuse to do the same to you." Kira was quiet again. She did not know what to say. No alien had ever spoken to her like that. No human had ever shown her patience, calmness, or understanding. And yet here he was, offering her all of that without asking for anything in return. Over time, small conversations began to develop. Kira would ask about human habits, about life on Earth, about simple things that she had never understood. Adam answered carefully, honestly, without judgment or exaggeration. "Do humans always help each other like you do?" Kira asked one afternoon as they cleaned a storage room. "Not always," Adam replied. "But some of us try. Some of us believe it matters to help even when it is difficult." Kira frowned. "Difficult, everything is difficult, everything is dangerous. Why does it matter if you help someone?" "Because it makes life better," Adam said simply. "Because it builds trust, and trust is stronger than fear or anger." Kira considered this. Trust was something she had never experienced. She had always relied on herself because no one else could be trusted. And yet slowly she felt something inside her shift. A small seed of understanding, fragile and new, began to grow. One day a critical system failure occurred. The station's communication array went down, cutting off contact with nearby ships. Adam and Kira were the first to respond. They rushed through the narrow maintenance tunnels, sparks flying from damaged circuits. Kira's movements were quick, precise, and controlled, but Adam noticed she hesitated whenever a sharp edge or unstable panel appeared. "You are too careful," Adam said softly. "Trust your skills, you know what to do." "I do not trust the equipment," Kira muttered. "It has betrayed me before." "Then trust me," Adam said calmly. "I am here with you." Kira froze for a moment, studying him. His calm tone, his quiet confidence, it was unlike anything she had encountered. Slowly, she nodded and worked alongside him. Together, they restored the communications array. The station hummed again, lights blinking steadily. Afterward, Kira leaned against the wall, breathing hard. Adam handed her a small cloth to wipe the sweat from her face. "You did well," he said simply. "You did most of it," she replied, though her voice was softer than usual. "We did it together," Adam corrected gently. "That is what matters." Kira's sharp eyes softened just a little. She did not speak, but the tension in her body eased. She realized, perhaps for the first time, that she could work with someone, rely on someone, and not be judged for her past or her appearance. As days turned into weeks, their bond deepened. Kira still struggled with jealousy and anger, but moments of cooperation and quiet understanding became more frequent. She began to notice Adam's small acts of kindness, the way he respected her space, the way he included her in decisions without making her feel weak or inferior. One night, they were in the lab, repairing a small energy conduit. Sparks flew, the air was hot, and both of them were covered in grime. Kira paused, wiping her face. "Why do you stay with me?" she asked quietly. "You could choose someone better, easier, prettier." Adam looked at her, his eyes steady. "Because I do not choose based on looks or ease. I choose based on who a person is, and you are worth it." Kira's green eyes widened slightly. She had never heard anything like that. Not compliments, not kindness, not understanding. She had only known judgment, anger, and fear. But Adam, he believed in her, and that belief was stronger than any jealousy or bitterness she carried. Over time, Kira began to open up about her past. She spoke of rejection, of failed alliances, of her anger and her fear of being alone. Adam listened quietly, never interrupting, never judging. He shared small stories of humans who had faced rejection, who had learned to trust, who had grown stronger because they chose understanding over fear. Kira began to see a pattern. Adam did not just accept her. He reflected her strengths and weaknesses back at her, showing her that her jealousy and bitterness were not failures, but signs of her past struggles. Slowly, she began to see herself differently, through Adam's calm, patient eyes. And in that simple understanding, a fragile bond was forged. Not love, not yet, but trust and respect. something Kira had never allowed herself to feel. The station continued its quiet orbit through space, indifferent to the small changes within. But inside a small corner of the lab and observation deck, a human and an alien woman, once feared, once mocked, began to see each other not as enemy, not as burden, but as companion. And that, in Kira's eyes, was a beginning she had never expected, yet could not ignore. A warning light flashed red across the station, and the low hum of machinery was replaced by sharp alarms. Adam's heart sank, but he did not panic. He grabbed a tablet and ran toward the control hub. Kira followed, her long strides swift and precise, her green eyes flashing with alertness. "This is serious," Adam said as they entered the hub. "Life support systems are failing in Sector 7. We need to act fast." Kira's jaw tightened. She had never been in a crisis like this with a human before. Normally, she would have acted alone, relying only on herself. But now, she had learned a new approach. She looked at Adam, and in that instant she trusted his calm even more than her own instincts. "Show me what to do," she said sharply. Adam pointed to the panels and systems, his voice steady. "We split the work. I'll stabilize the primary system, and you handle the secondary circuits. We must synchronize our efforts or the failure will spread." Kira hesitated. The secondary circuits were dangerous, exposed, and unpredictable. One wrong move could cause sparks to fly, fire to start, or worse, human casualties. She swallowed her fear. Adam was not just instructing her, he was counting on her. For the first time, she felt that someone believed in her completely. "All right," she said, her voice low but determined. The room hummed with energy and tension as they worked. Adam adjusted the main life support controls while Kira moved between exposed conduits, her hands moving quickly but carefully. Sparks flew and the heat was almost unbearable. Sweat ran down her forehead, but she did not stop. Every step, every movement was precise. She could hear Adam calling instructions, reminders, and small words of encouragement. "You've got this," Adam said calmly. "Just stay steady. Focus on the sequence." Kira's green eyes narrowed, her focus intense. Normally, she would have allowed fear or jealousy to cloud her mind. Now she blocked everything except the task. Her hands flew across the circuits, connecting wires, stabilizing nodes, and resetting controls. A sudden spark leapt from one of the panels, causing her to jump back. Adam was instantly at her side, holding a fire containment tool. "Careful," he said. "It's under control." She blinked at him, not trusting her ears. He had risked being near the spark to protect her. Normally, she would have expected judgment, criticism, or even avoidance. But Adam simply acted, calmly and without hesitation, to keep her safe. The minutes stretched long. The station creaked and groaned as power shifted between failing and stable. Kira's arms ached, her lungs burned, but she did not give up. Adam worked beside her, checking her connections, adjusting controls, and keeping her calm with small words and gestures. "You're doing fine," he said quietly. "We can handle this together." Kira's chest heaved. She had never felt the weight of partnership before. She had always relied on herself because no one else could be trusted. But now she was learning that trust could exist. She could rely on Adam and he could rely on her. A loud bang echoed through the station as a secondary panel sparked dangerously. Kira froze for a split second. Normally, she would have panicked, maybe even backed away. But Adam's voice was steady, clear, and confident. "Now, Kira, we can fix this together." She gritted her teeth and lunged forward. Her hands moved quickly, reconnecting the wires, rerouting energy flows, and stabilizing the panel. Sparks flew again, but she did not hesitate. For the first time, she acted without fear because she trusted someone else completely. The alarms finally stopped. The station hummed quietly, lights returning to normal. Adam leaned against the control console, breathing heavily but smiling faintly. Kira stood beside him, her chest rising and falling rapidly. She felt a strange mix of exhaustion and pride. "We did it," Adam said simply. Kira looked at him, green eyes wide. "We did it." "Yes," Adam replied. "Together, that is what matters." For the first time, Kira felt a warmth she had never known. It was not just relief. It was respect, trust, and a strange connection that she could not deny. Adam had not only saved the station but had relied on her, believed in her, and allowed her to act without judgment or fear. After the crisis, the council called an emergency meeting. They wanted to review the incident and see how their pairing had fared. Adam and Kira entered the council hall, still showing signs of their battle. Sweat streaked their faces, and their clothing was slightly singed. The council members looked at them with surprise and curiosity. "You have managed the failure efficiently," Loran said, the tall council member. "And you, Kira, you acted decisively under pressure. Remarkable." Kira's ears twitched. She had expected criticism or blame as always. But the council was acknowledging her skills, her courage, and her quick thinking. Adam smiled faintly at her. "You did well," he said quietly. Kira's green eyes flickered. She did not reply immediately. No one had ever praised her like that. No one had ever recognized her strength without mocking her appearance or her past. She felt something unfamiliar, a sense of worth, a feeling of being truly seen. The council dismissed them, and Adam and Kira returned to their small quarters. Silence stretched between them for a moment, neither speaking. Finally, Kira broke it. "You didn't hesitate," she said quietly, her voice almost vulnerable. "Even when it was dangerous, you trusted me." Adam nodded. "Yes, because you are capable. I have seen your strength from the beginning, and today you proved it." Kira studied him. She wanted to argue, to push him away, to tell him he was wrong, but she could not. The truth was undeniable. She had relied on someone, worked with someone, and survived. She had not been judged for her jealousy, her anger, or her appearance. She had been trusted, and she had risen to meet that trust. A small smile flickered on her lips, almost hidden, almost hesitant. I didn't fail," she admitted. "No," Adam said softly. "You didn't. And you never will if you keep trusting yourself and others." The next few days were quieter. Kira moved with a new confidence, her jealousy and anger still present but tempered by the experience of the crisis. Adam continued his steady routine, observing, guiding, and allowing her to act as an equal. They faced smaller emergencies together, leaking pipes, power fluctuations, minor system malfunctions. Each challenge strengthened their bond, each success built trust. Kira began to understand that strength was not measured only by skill or fearlessness, but by cooperation, trust, and understanding. One night they were on the observation deck, looking out at a distant star cluster. The light from the stars reflected in Kira's green eyes, making them glow softly. Adam stood beside her, silent, watching the station drift through the vast, quiet space. "You didn't abandon me," Kira said quietly. Adam glanced at her. "I never would. Not now, not ever." Trust is built by standing together, not by walking away. Kira's ears twitched. She had always abandoned trust before, always acted alone, always assumed she was unworthy of partnership. But Adam had shown her otherwise. I think I understand," she said softly. "Not fully, but I understand a little." "That is all I ask," Adam replied with a faint smile. "Small steps, one at a time." Kira nodded. She did not speak further, but she did not walk away either. She stayed by his side, feeling a strange sense of calm and connection. For the first time, she realized that she could face danger, fear, and uncertainty, and not just survive, but grow stronger, if she trusted someone else and allowed herself to be seen. The station continued its orbit, indifferent to their personal victories. Outside, stars glimmered endlessly. Inside, a human and an alien woman, once feared, bitter, and jealous, had found a new path. One built not on fear, anger, or judgment, but on trust, respect, and the beginnings of understanding. And Kira knew, deep inside, that nothing would ever be the same again. Days passed quietly after the crisis, and the station seemed to breathe easier. Adam and Kira moved through their routines with a new rhythm, not out of habit, but out of understanding. Every task they performed, every minor repair or system check, became a shared responsibility. They no longer acted as separate individuals, but as a team. Kira noticed the change in herself first. She no longer felt the constant tension that had once defined her. Her anger and jealousy, while still present at times, no longer controlled her. She could see Adam's patience and calmness as a model, a way to approach life without fear or suspicion. It was strange, unsettling, and yet comforting. Adam noticed the change too. Kira's sharp eyes, once full of suspicion and judgment, now held something new: trust. She still questioned and tested him as she always had, but the tone had shifted. Her challenges were no longer weapons, they were invitations to work together. One morning, a minor leak appeared in one of the storage sectors. Adam spotted it first and called Kira to help. "We have to act fast," he said. "If this spreads, it could damage critical supplies." Kira moved quickly, gathering tools and scanning the system. "We can fix this," she said, her voice confident. "Just follow my lead." Adam smiled faintly. "I trust you." The word surprised her. She had heard humans say many things, but few ever meant it. Trust was not given lightly, and yet Adam offered it freely. It was a gift and a challenge all at once. Together, they repaired the leak, coordinating smoothly, anticipating each other's actions. The task, which might have seemed dangerous or stressful alone, became almost easy because they worked as one. When the repair was complete, Kira stepped back, breathing hard but smiling faintly. "We did it," she said. Adam nodded. "We did, together." The council noticed the change as well. They had sent observers to review the station after the previous crisis. Kira, once labeled the most bitter and jealous alien, had proven herself competent, reliable, and cooperative. The council had expected tension, mistakes, or failure. Instead, they found a partnership built on trust and respect. "You have exceeded our expectations," Loran said during a meeting. "Kira, you have shown not only skill but also growth. And Adam, you have demonstrated patience and understanding that is remarkable for a human." Kira's ears twitched, and she glanced at Adam. Normally, such praise would have made her uncomfortable, but now it felt different. She understood that this recognition was not empty words. They had earned it together. After the meeting, Adam and Kira walked quietly through the observation deck. Stars glittered across the black sky, endless and serene. Kira stopped and looked at him. "You stayed with me," she said softly, "even when others would have left, even when I was difficult." Adam nodded. "Yes, because I saw the real you. The one who is capable, strong, and worthy. I do not care about appearances or rumors. I care about who you are." Kira's green eyes softened. She had spent most of her life believing no one could see past her flaws. Now she realized someone had. And not only that, he had chosen to stay, to work with her, to trust her completely. For the first time, Kira allowed herself to feel something unfamiliar: gratitude and connection. She had always relied only on herself, feared rejection, and pushed others away. But Adam had shown her that cooperation and trust were not weaknesses, they were strength. Over the next weeks, their partnership continued to deepen. Small moments became important: sharing a quiet meal, discussing station repairs, or simply sitting side by side and watching the stars. They did not speak of feelings, not yet, but every glance, every action, built a foundation stronger than any words could convey. One evening, an unexpected visitor arrived. A small delegation of aliens came to the station, curious about Kira's progress. They had heard of her crisis and the human she had been paired with. Some whispered, some laughed, but most observed quietly. Kira felt a flicker of her old jealousy and defensiveness. She instinctively stepped forward, ready to protect her work and her reputation. But Adam stood beside her, calm and steady, a silent reassurance. "You have nothing to fear," he said softly. "You have proven yourself." Kira's sharp green eyes met his. She drew a deep breath and squared her shoulders. "You are right," she said. "I am not the same alien you knew before. I have grown and I will show it." Together, they demonstrated the station's systems, repaired a small malfunction for the visitors, and explained their processes. Kira moved with confidence, her knowledge precise and clear. Adam worked alongside her, supporting and complementing her actions. By the end of the demonstration, the visitors were impressed. They had expected tension, failure, or mistakes. Instead, they found efficiency, trust, and a partnership that defied expectation. After the visitors left, Kira sat quietly, reflecting on the events. She turned to Adam, a small, genuine smile forming on her lips. "You have changed me," she admitted. "Not completely, not instantly, but I am different because of you." Adam nodded. "And you have changed me as well. I have learned patience, trust, and the power of seeing beyond appearances." Kira's smile grew slightly. She had never shared her thoughts so openly before. The walls she had built around herself out of fear and jealousy were slowly crumbling. She did not feel exposed or weak. She felt alive, capable, and connected. Weeks later, the station faced another minor emergency. A meteor shower had caused small damage to the outer hull. Adam and Kira were the first to respond, moving quickly to repair breaches and stabilize systems. The work was exhausting, but they moved together like a single unit. Afterward, they returned to their quarters, covered in grime, tired but satisfied. Kira looked at Adam, her eyes bright with a mix of relief and pride. "We did it again," she said softly. "Yes," Adam replied, "and we will continue to handle challenges together, no matter what comes next." For the first time, Kira felt a sense of partnership that she had never experienced. She was no longer alone, no longer feared, no longer bitter about her past. She had someone who trusted her, respected her, and worked alongside her as an equal. The council, observing from afar, recognized the transformation. Kira was no longer the bitter, jealous alien who had been given to a human as a punishment. She was competent, confident, and respected. And Adam, he had shown the power of human patience, understanding, and compassion. One quiet night, Kira stood at the observation window, staring at the endless stars. Adam joined her, carrying 2 cups of warm liquid. He handed her one and they stood silently, side by side, watching the universe drift past. "You stayed," Kira said quietly. "Yes," Adam replied, "because you were worth it, because trust is stronger than fear and cooperation is stronger than jealousy." Kira's green eyes reflected the stars. "I never thought I could feel this way, calm, respected, and capable. You showed me it was possible." Adam smiled faintly. "It is possible, and it will continue to be as long as we work together." For the first time, Kira allowed herself to feel hope. She had been feared, judged, and rejected her whole life. Now she had someone who saw her worth, who trusted her, and who allowed her to grow. She felt a strange warmth, not only in her mind but in her chest. The station continued to orbit silently, indifferent to their personal victories. But inside a small corner of the lab, observation deck, and living quarters, a human and an alien woman, once mocked, bitter, and jealous, had built something extraordinary. Trust, respect, partnership, and the beginnings of true connection. In that quiet orbit under endless stars, Kira finally realized something she had never allowed herself to believe. She was not alone. She was seen. She was respected. And perhaps in time she could even be happy. Adam glanced at her, sensing the change. "You've come a long way," he said quietly. Kira turned to him, her green eyes soft but strong. "Yes," she admitted, "and it is because of you." Adam simply nodded, offering her a smile that was calm, steady, and full of quiet understanding. For both of them, words were not necessary anymore. Their partnership, their trust, and their shared experiences spoke louder than anything else could. And in the silence of space, the station, and their hearts, They knew this was only the beginning of something far greater than either of them had ever imagined.